Hello everyone, I'm Keen47, aka Wolfkeen, and welcome to another edition of My Little Pony Vlogs. Today I am talking about A Dog and Pony Show written by Amy Kitten Rogers. I might as well say this to begin with. One thing I noticed with Amy Kitten Rogers' writing style, I seem to be able to relate with the episode in many situations. I think a lot of people can relate to the different stories that Amy Kitten Rogers comes up with and other stuff like that. Ranging from Fall Weather Friends, where competition is a key role, to the newest episode I just saw, Philly Vanilli, which is, about stage fright and stuff like that, to other episodes she's written, like Pinky Pride and other stuff like that. She writes very relatable episodes, and this one, unfortunately, I can't relate to due to the fact that it's not an episode I can relate to in many situations. The episode starts with Rarity basically working on a dress in her boutique when someone comes in who is apparently this pony known as Sapphire Shores, the pony of Pop. Basically, Sapphire Shores came in because she read about Rarity's boutique in a local magazine, and so Rarity decides to show her a dress that she's been working on, which she takes an immediate shine towards. Of course, she wants 5 more just like it, so Rarity is forced to go gem hunting because she just used the last of it. So now we move on to where Rarity and Spike are out in the field looking for gems. Now this is an interesting thing because Rarity can find these gems using magic. Now here's the thing. Remember the episode Ghostbusters where Twilight gave out the explanation that unicorns usually only have a little bit of magic to match their special ability? And, Rarity has been shown to have quite a bit of magic herself in episodes like Suited for Success, and now this, being able to find gems. That sounds like a very intriguing ability to be able to find gems. And the fact that Twilight just learned this spell in this episode, I'm not kidding. Later in the episode, she says that she learned this spell from Rarity. So that kind of shows that Rarity maybe has different kinds of magic that Twilight does not have access to, or at least doesn't know. Kind of gives you a bit of thinking to do. So, of course, they begin digging up the jewels and stuff like that. They begin digging up the gems and stuff like that, trying to, at least meet their quota. At one point, though, there's these weird silhouettes in the background in, like, these dark, raspy voices, like this. Sound like Gollum in many cases. So what they do is they approach Rarity, who are known as the Diamond Dogs. They approach Rarity about they want diamonds, and they're known as the Diamond Dogs, and they want to find gems, so they want Rarity. Of course, Rarity and Spike do try to get away, but unfortunately, it still leads to Rarity getting captured by the Diamond Dogs, and then we get the infamous line that Spike did, which, Darth Vader would be proud, no! You know what I mean. So the remaining 5 come in, basically trying to figure out what happened in the situation, and Spike explains it to the best of his ability, even though the beginning of it is babbling. When they do get to the area, unfortunately, there's a lot of holes in the area. So they begin having ideas to dig up the holes and other stuff like that, and they're just getting played around by the Diamond Dogs. Like, the Diamond Dogs are pulling their tails, tripping them, making them bump into each other, crashing and other stuff like that. Just overall being a nuisance in many cases. That is, of course, after they plug up the holes that they try to go into. So, of course, the main 6 begin having flashback and begin having, predictions on how Rarity would act because, she hates dirt, she hates scary people like that. Like, they just begin coming up with these different ideas, and honestly, it's kind of funny in many cases seeing these visions. So Spike has an idea to attract the Diamond Dogs. He got a gem from Rarity for his hard work, and now he's going to use it to try to attract the Diamond Dogs to get them to bring him to the lair. Then we have Spike doing a flashback, which is reminiscent of medieval times in many cases. Because Spike is grown up, wearing like this armor, and using like a lance or something like that. That looks more like a lance than a sword. I mean, think about it. And the vision pretty much ends where Spike almost kisses Applejack. A lot of people say, like, wait a minute. Was Spike doing this the entire time during the flashback? And the main six didn't even question it? Okay. What happens at the end is that Spike does in fact get, I guess he said a bite at one point, and he gets dragged into the hole along with the remaining 5. Now we move on to Rarity, who basically, the Diamond Dogs want her to find gems for them. At first, Rarity's like, alright, I'll do this. And she locates the gems. She locates the gems for them. But unfortunately, they want her to dig as well and other stuff like that, which she can't. So this begins the one part that a lot of people thought this was stupid in the episode. Rarity annoying them. Honestly, I can see why people say, oh, annoying your opponent's never going to work. Because in the real world, that would never work. You got kidnapped by someone. Annoy the living crap out of them and they'll let you go. No, that person's more inclined to kill you. But then again, kids show. What can you do? So she begins annoying them. She begins making them play to her effects in many cases. They try to get her to pull a cart, and she begins doing all this whining and stuff like that, actually getting them very, very upset and getting them to, like, go nuts at one point. Hell, it's at one point that she actually got the freaking Diamond Dogs to be worshipping her. She had some of the guard dogs basically fanning her. She had the Diamond Dogs pulling the cart and other stuff like that. Like, it was like, that's ingenious that she was able to do this. Like, this is what I tried to say. People like Rarity are great manipulators. Because, if you're a good manipulator, you can get away with quite a bit. But unfortunately, the Diamond Dogs do wise up a little bit. And Rarity plays one more card, which actually works in many aspects. She begins to cry after they called her a mule, and uses that to her effect, saying, he called me ugly, he called me a mule, da, 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 da. I mean, Tabitha St. Germain's voice work in this episode is amazing. Almost as good as Suited for Success. It's just so funny seeing her do this and getting her way, basically. So we move back on to the main 6 who are closing in on Rarity's location when they do get attacked by some of the guard dogs, and they actually do rodeo with them. And then Spike, after he hears Rarity crying, he actually grabs a stone, like, stalagmite, I think it was, and makes it into a sword, saying that, I'm coming, Rarity. Hi-ho, Twilight! Away! I was like, I was laughing my ass off on that one. And then Twilight was like, are you serious? And he was like, please, Twilight, just give me this. And she goes ahead and does it. I was like, the fact that Twilight gave him this, I was like, wow. I don't know what to say. But of course, the Diamond Dogs have had enough of Rarity and decided to give her back with the gems. I think she had like 5 carts worth of gems, and they got out afterwards. So of course, what happens next is that Twilight says that she learned something from Rarity from this entire situation, and Rarity looks at her like, what? And she says, just because someone is ladylike doesn't mean they're defenseless. This is actually a very interesting moral because it plays into the effect of looks are deceiving. You get me? It plays into the effect of looks are deceiving. Like, guys, I dress like a bum in many occasions. I don't look like someone you would want to be friends with, now do I? But if you actually took the chance to come meet me and actually talk with me, I'm a pretty intelligent person, I'm a nice guy, and I'm kind of one of the best people you could probably meet and around. After all, I'm very loyal. Okay, so I'm like Rainbow Dash in many cases. Go figure. And that's pretty much a dog and pony show. There's not a lot in this episode that goes on, like, you know, not like other episodes where I have to explain a lot of it. I mean, a lot of it is just, you know, Rarity whining, the main 6 trying to get to Rarity, and basically Rarity gaining complete control of the situation. Like I said, I can't relate to this episode because I never had a situation like this. I don't know if I have any friends who's had a situation like this. Maybe, but I don't know. All in all, what do I think of a dog and pony show? Not a bad episode. I like this episode. It's not, you know, a great episode, but I definitely like this episode. The reason why I say it's not a great episode is because while it's an interesting episode at times, it's just not an interesting concept overall. Like, overall, it's not an interesting concept to me at least. but it's still fun from beginning to end. It's still like a fun little train ride from beginning to end. And honestly, I loved how Rarity was able to get her way, manipulate the Diamond Dogs, and basically use their strength to her advantages. I love people like that. That's why, and like, this episode helped bump Rarity up in my case, in my favorite main six. I mean, like, this episode helped bump her up in favorite main six in the show. Luckily, because when I first watched this episode, Rarity was my least favorite pony. But now, after watching this episode and Suited for Success, she's actually in my top 3. She's actually in my top 3 now, so take that as you will. Not much else for me to say. Good episode. We'll see where it goes from here. I'm going to check what's the next episode. Well, I really can't because my computer's being a douche. So, anyways, I'm going to end it right here, guys. So, until next time, I'm Keen947, aka Wolfkeen, and this has been another edition of my My Little Pony vlog. So, until next time, take care.